I just watched my first TNA pay-per-view in a couple of years, and I was greeted with not one, not two, not even three, but four championship changes. So let's look at what happened at TNA Slammiversary 2024. The show opened up with Matt Hardy taking on JDC, and this match was fine. JDC cost Matt and Jeff Hardy the World Tag Team Championships just earlier this week. Then he not only beat up Jeff Hardy and sent him to the hospital, he also took out Matt Hardy's wife, Rebby Hardy. So this was a very personal match, but I don't think it should have been on the card, honestly. It only brought the show down a bit because it wasn't as good as the rest of the matches, and it also didn't feel like a pay-per-view worthy matchup. So I think this shouldn't have been on the card, but Matt Hardy won, and it was fine. I don't know what to say about it, it was fine. And later on during the night, we also had Santana versus Jake something, another match with no story behind it, just two people they want to throw out into a match on the pay-per-view. Again, also I think it shouldn't have been there, but I do think if you take out these two matches, this show is one of the best shows of the year. It's just these two matches brought it down a lot, and I don't think it should have been on the card. Nonetheless, Mike Santana won, and now we can move on to the rest of the show, which was actually very fantastic. So the first championships that changed hands tonight were the tag team championships when ABC, Chris Bay and Ace Austin defeated the System, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. This was a very fun match. This is the match I think should have opened the show. It was very high energy, high paced. You had a good heel babyface dynamics and it was a really good match. Go check it out if you haven't. And like I said, Ace Austin and Chris Bay won the tag team championships, and this match was the beginning of the downfall for the System, as later on during the night, Moose also lost his championship, so the System is completely down and out. They have none of their championships left, and we have a new babyface tag team holding the championships. I would presume the System are going to be getting their tag team championship rematches and be the first challengers for ABC, but once that is done, I would like to see First Class challenge for ABC's tag team championships. First Class is a very fun heel team, ABC is a very good babyface team. I think these two teams would mesh very well together. And honestly, TNA has an incredible tag team division. It's very underrated. Like, if you look at the teams, the Rascals, the System, ABC, the Hardys, First Class, there are lots of great tag teams here, and I think this is a really great tag team division. And since I just mentioned First Class, let's talk about them right now. AJ Francis defends his Digital Media Championship against PCO. And he gives me a lot of Enzo Amore vibes. The way he walks to the ring and introduces himself and Rich Swann, it gives lots of Enzo Amore vibes. But I do think AJ Francis, he's shown himself to be a lot more worth than what he was in WWE. And I think he's doing very well for himself. And PCO is like, what, in his mid-50s, and he's doing what he's doing and taking the bumps he's taking? That's actually insane. But this was a no disqualifications match, and it was really good. Near the end of the match, PCO put AJ Francis through two tables, but then one of AJ Francis's friends, I think he's an athlete, he picks PCO up and he throws him on top of two chairs standing up. That was really scary. That was really it was awful. Everyone is safe, but that spot just looked really brutal. And then Rhino came out and he laid out Rich Swann. It was a cheap pop, but it was worth it. I liked it. And then PCO, AJ Francis went at it for a few more minutes, and PCO ends up winning the Digital Media Championship. And the other championship, I don't think it's a sanctioned TNA championship, but apparently PCO has wanted it for a while, and I'm happy he's won it. He is really cool. I've never gotten the hype about him, but it was cool seeing this, and I think I finally get him. But after the match, Steph DeLander came out and she proposed to PCO. Obviously, it's only like gimmick-wise, it's not real. But we're gonna get a wedding now, and wrestling weddings are always fun and it always ends in disaster. I don't know if it's gonna happen this week, but whenever it's gonna happen, I'm definitely gonna tune in. So at least TNA has my viewership for at least another few weeks. We also had a battle of the NXT guys as the No Quarter Catch crew went up against the Rascals and Wes Lee. Now the Rascals ended up winning, which I think is a good decision. Wesley keeps getting that momentum, and he gets a nice reintroduction back into TNA, and the Rascals can now go on to face for the TNA Tag Team Championships, or whatever they are doing, I'm not sure yet. And the No Quarter Catch crew don't need this victory. They looked really strong in this match, and that's all they needed. And they lost to a more experienced trio. So they lose nothing from losing this match. They only get more exposure, and this was just a really good match. So up next, we had Jordynne Grace defend her Knockouts Championship against Ash by Elegance. I've seen a lot of people compare Ash by Elegance's gimmick to Toni Storm's, and I can see some of the similarities, but it's definitely not the same at all, and those people are just trying to nitpick. Now, it feels like Ash by Elegance has been challenging for this championship since she debuted back in January, I think. So it's felt like forever, so it's great to finally have this payoff. And I'm excited to see what her gimmick is all about, because I was enjoying what she was doing with Kalani Jordan in NXT before she got released. And maybe with this new alliance, we can even see them like interacting. But nonetheless, she is challenging for the Knockouts Championship tonight, but she ended up losing. Early on into the match, her personal connoisseur, he tried to grab Jordynne Grace's legs, but Rosemary came out through the crowd. She pulled a knife on him and she chased him backstage. That's just crazy. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm definitely excited to see that because it's so weird. It's not something you see. It's just so crazy, and it's not something you see anywhere, so it's definitely got my interest. And Jordynne Grace ended up winning the championship, retaining it. I am a bit worried though, because it doesn't feel like the Knockouts division is that strong. Like, they've lost a lot of their talents like Deonna Purrazzo, Trinity Fatu, Mickie James over the last year, and Jordynne Grace's contract ends in January 2025, and she's almost definitely going to WWE, and it doesn't feel like they have anyone to carry that women's division after she's gone. So I am kind of worried about this, but it's a problem they still have some time to solve. Up next, we had my personal match of the night between Mustafa Ali and Speedball Mike Bailey for the X Division Championship. And this is what the X Division Championship used to mean and what it should mean going forward. Just a clash of styles and people putting their all on the line for that belt. This match might have been a bit overbooked, but I don't mind because it was overbooked in a good way and it was very entertaining, and I can't find anything to complain about it. Near the end of the match, Mike Bailey accidentally knocked out the referee, so Mustafa Ali's personal security came into the ring. They beat up Mike Bailey, Mustafa Ali hit a few moves, and he was about to win, but Trent Seven returned. He's the partner of Mike Bailey. He returned, he took out the personal security, but he also got took out. And then Mustafa Ali brought in Earl Hebner. Earl Hebner looked very old. He looked like he can barely walk. And since this was in Canada, they were teasing that Earl Hebner is going to screw Mike Bailey like he screwed Bret Hart. But he ended up redeeming himself. Mike Bailey put Mustafa Ali into the sharpshooter and Mustafa Ali tapped out. Mike Bailey is your new X Division champion. Very deserved. We then got to the 6-man main event for the World Championship. And from what I've read online, the ending was very divisive. But I think it was the right ending. So just hear me out. But before we can do that, let's recap the match. The very first person to be eliminated was Steve Maclin by Moose. And then the next person to be eliminated was Moose himself, though it was a lot later. And it was by Joe Hendry. Yes, Joe Hendry eliminated Moose, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. I think this would definitely give him a future World Championship shot. But for now, right after that, Joe Hendry was eliminated by Josh Alexander turning heel. Yes, Josh Alexander, the big face of TNA over the last couple of years, he's a heel now. And this move alone made him the biggest heel in wrestling, one of the biggest heels in wrestling, because he kicked Joe Hendry in the balls and eliminated him. But that didn't last long, as right after this, Nic Nemeth eliminated both Josh Alexander and Frankie Kazarian, and he is now the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. And I think this was the right decision, despite what people say, because he is the biggest face in TNA right now. Joe Hendry is a rising star, but he's not Dolph Ziggler. He's not Nic Nemeth yet. And I think having Nic Nemeth carry the TNA World Championship around is going to give it a lot of prestige. But for Joe Hendry and Josh Alexander, these two are going to have a feud. And Josh Alexander has openly expressed that he does not want to be in TNA anymore. And he's definitely going to leave next year. So the fact that he now turned heel, cost Joe Hendry the championship, and he wants to leave TNA is going to make him a big heel. And having Joe Hendry be the one to not only beat him, but maybe kick him out of TNA, that's going to make him even a bigger babyface. And after that, he can challenge Nic Nemeth for the championship, and that would be the biggest possible match TNA can put on. But until then, Nic Nemeth has to go through Mustafa Ali, Moose, and Frankie Kazarian, so he'll be quite busy, and Joe Hendry can be busy with Josh Alexander until we finally get that big match. So just let it play out, be calm, because Joe Hendry will win that championship eventually. We just need to go along for the ride and be calm about it. So if I had to give tonight's show a rating, it would be a solid 8 out of 10. Matt Hardy versus JDC and Santana versus something. Those were not matches that should have been on the card. And if you take them out, this was one of the best pay-per-views of the year by far. And I do also think they need to fix a lot of production problems. Oftentimes you couldn't hear the entrances very well, and some of the backstage promos were very wonky with their sound, so that is something they need to fix. But I'm not going to judge them too much on that because this is a relatively small promotion at the moment. But thank you for watching, and if you've made it this far, I want to say thank you a lot, because my previous video about TNA was my best video yet. It did amazing. So to everyone who watched that, who commented on it, and who liked it, thank you so much. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. It means so much to me. And yeah, if you like this video and you want to see more of TNA, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave another comment letting me know, and let's just engage in the comment section. But thank you for watching. I do appreciate your time, and I hope to see you again soon.